Alright, try to make this video again. Keep making it. Something keeps happening. The UFC has been sold. What is my take on this? I know this happened a while ago. I thought I'd give you guys my take on it. I think the Fertittas and Dana White, because Dana White is part owner of the UFC, not just like 5 or 10% or less, which might not sound like much, but it's millions and millions of dollars. I think they think maybe what I'm thinking. You know, I was like, when this drug testing stuff was going on, I was like, ugh. All this last year, I mean, champions are all losing, and people who were champs had to retire, and we've seen a lot of crazy upsets. We've seen a lot of terrible performances. Guys come in, so you can't really bet on this sport right now because you just don't know who's going to win. They keep changing everything. No more IVs. Guys were using IVs before. No more drugs. Guys were using drugs before. So how are you supposed to evaluate what level guys are at? And I think the Fertittas and Dana White might be thinking the same thing. I think the UFC kind of peaked at. Could it continue to grow? Maybe. But they're not going to be able to continue to grow it like the Fertittas and Dana White did, because everything has changed now. Everything has changed. I mean, the UFC has a lot invested in, names like, Vitor Belfort. I mean, think 2 years ago, Vitor Belfort and all these guys. Well, all these guys are no longer the best fighters in the world. You took their drugs away. And, even like Renan Barão, I mean, guys, Renan Barão was undefeated. I mean, he was like, they had a lot invested in this guy, and all of a sudden, he's off steroids, and he's in there with TJ Dillashaw. He gets destroyed. And then you think, oh, wow, look how good TJ Dillashaw. But see, this is what's messed up about the UFC. People are thinking, oh, TJ Dillashaw is so great. But he wasn't great. Dominic Cruz came back and made TJ Dillashaw, he made him look horrible. Made him look like nothing. So he really wasn't good. Renan Barão was going off the drugs. So every Nets, there's a million examples like this. All these people, even Ronda Rousey losing. And it's all because of this drug testing stuff. And like, the UFC for like the last couple years, since Strikeforce folded, they no doubt had the best fighters in the world. But what do they have right now? A bunch of middle-aged men who are off drugs. These are no longer the best fighters in the world, guys. Look at Benson Henderson, went to Bellator, got destroyed. So things are not looking good for the UFC. Like I said, a lot of these fights have been lackluster, but some excitement has came from the drug testing too. People getting knocked out, different things, and a lot of upsets. But they have a lot of money, like I said, invested in these guys, and they're not the best fighters in the world. Middle-aged men off drugs are not the best fighters in the world. And I mean, people are not stupid. So anyway, I think the UFC has peaked. Where is it going to go? I mean, I don't know. I'm still watching. I'm excited about this Holly Holm fight coming up. It's been interesting. But where's it going? I don't know, man. Is it going to continue to grow? Are they going to be able to continue to grow the UFC like Dana White and the Fertittas did? Not everything's changing. I don't think that they are. I mean, I just really don't. So, and I don't really care, because there'll be MMA somewhere. There'll be other organizations forming. All right, Bellator is actually putting on more fights. Bellator fights are getting better. I didn't follow Bellator at all when when it first came out. But when Benson Henderson went over there and got destroyed, that's when I was like, whoa. I'm going to want to keep an eye on what's going on in Bellator, because the best fighters in the world may be over there right now. It's definitely not. It's definitely not middle-aged men. And even guys like, you had Chad Mendes. People are like, look how good Chad Mendes is when he fought Jose Aldo. Yeah, but now he just got busted for steroids or estrogen blockers. Is what you take when you're on steroids. or going off a cyclist steroids, you know what I mean? So that guy, that was him. Yeah, he was one of the best fighters in the world on steroids. He's suspended, but when he comes back, they'll still have him ranked. But how can you rank somebody? That was them on steroids. They're off steroids now. They're going to be horrible. They're going to be terrible. And that's the thing. The whole thing is really screwed up. They've really, a lot has changed with the UFC with this drug testing stuff, and then like this Reebok deal, and just a lot of, I don't know, man. Like even this last Daniel Cormier versus Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva during his prime on steroids would have knocked Daniel Cormier out. You know what I mean? He probably would have went whoo, bam, and just to, you know what I mean? It would have been some crazy knockout. Anderson Silva off of steroids, he's not knocking guys out like that. I mean, who was another one? Johnny Hendricks. Do you remember this guy? Every fight was a highlight reel. He was just boom, go watch Johnny Hendricks, John Fitch, just bam, all these amazing knockouts. Beat the heck out of GSP, who is a total steroid head, steroid user. His whole face is roided out. He's got just, delts popping. I got delts popping, but that's me. I don't, I ain't on drugs. GSP just all gassed up, you know what I mean? So you got this guy, Johnny Hendricks, all gassed up, knocking guys out. Then all of a sudden, he goes from that to, man, this guy can't fight at all. He can't fight at all. This sucks. We're watching guys like, so that's another one. You get Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You go, man, look how good this guy is. Look how fast he took care of Johnny Hendricks. Look how fast he took care of Rory McDonald. Yeah, but Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, I do think he's good, but he's not fighting Johnny Hendricks on steroids. He's not fighting Rory McDonald on steroids. Rory McDonald, when he was a kid, he was just a teenager, and this guy had abs like baseballs. I mean, the guy was juiced up, man. He was GSP's training partner. And that's what made him famous. He's famous for being just a total killer. These guys don't fight the same without the drugs. And so I think this whole thing is, you got guys losing. Oh, look at all these guys up and coming, but are they really up and coming? Is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson really that good? He's fighting these guys that are coming off drugs. You send Stephen Wonderboy Thompson to Bellator, he would probably lose to the best fighter over there. You see what I'm getting at? I mean, it's just like, so I think the UFC knows this and they sold it. I don't know where the UFC is going, but they ain't going nowhere with middle-aged men off drugs. They're not. I mean, nobody wants to see that. These fights suck. They flat out suck. We've been watching because it's been something different. But how many times are you going to watch fights? These guys just go in there and that they just aren't any good. They're no good, man. Johnny Hendricks off drugs is no good. He had the thing he couldn't make weight. Why do you think he's going to make weight? Because he doesn't have steroids, man. You can't lean up when you don't have testosterone. And their testosterone is horrible. They destroyed their natural testosterone. So they're all fat now. You know what I mean? That's another thing. These guys look like straight doughboys, man. I am 38 years old, going to be 39 years old. I'm in 10 times better shape. I'm in 10 times better shape. Look at this. I'm in 10 times better shape than these guys, and I don't take drugs. These guys are doughboys. Nobody wants to watch doughboys that can't fight. I think the UFC may just fold because these fights suck. I think the Fertittas knew it, Dana White knew it, and they sold. They made a lot of money. I'll see you guys later.